Mic's on, council. Good evening and welcome to tonight's council meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First thing I'm going to ask for is any agenda changes.
Steph has no changes to present this evening.
Okay. I will now open up for public forum. If there's anybody here wishing to address the council this evening that's not on the agenda, please step up to the mic and tell us who you are and why you're here.
I'm Amy Beck, 920 West 4th. I've got two things, really. I've been out of town working for the last couple of months, but I've been keeping track of everything that's been going on. At a meeting a couple of months ago, I read a statement that was from the Holdeman community and expressing their concerns about Bess. Shortly thereafter, you went on a podcast and called me a liar. You didn't name me, but it was very obvious who you were talking about. I am not a liar. I spoke to those people. They asked me to read that statement. Nobody else here would call you out for being a liar, but my 19-year-old son did. And I'm calling you out for it now. I am not a liar. I do not lie.
You might have your position on that issue, but I have my position as well.
I am not finished talking, sir. I have my time.
Yeah, you got 4 more minutes.
I am not finished talking. I am not a liar. I may not have spoken to every single person in that community, but I did speak to them. And everything that I said was true. I did not do it to further my personal or my political agenda, because at that point in time, I hadn't even decided to run for office. Now, while you're running around telling people that if this ban goes in place, that it's done for 10 years, you're wrong. If the right situation comes up, the right company comes up that is established, that is financially stable, that is not going to build it and run, that has a proven track record of safety, the citizens can vote on it before the 10 years is up, and the citizens can choose to bring a Bess into this town. That is not a decision that should be made by the people who happen to be sitting around this table. It needs to go to a vote, and it needs to be voted on by the people. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else wishing to address the council this evening? With that, we will close the public forum, and I'll ask for the approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, after reviewing the consent agenda as submitted, I would make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Stands as passed. We have no public hearing this morning, so we'll move on, or this evening, so we'll move on to unfinished business, and we have the distressed property at 217 Main. And Ethan should have an update for us there.
Yeah, you all should have received via email the plan from the interested party, so hopefully you all had a chance to review that. And just whether you guys want us to continue moving along those lines or how you would like to proceed regarding the property, so.
Comments, council?
I will be the first one to say that I'm not sure I got that email. If I did, I misplaced it.
Well,
On purpose, but obviously, I'm not sure I got it.
I read the email with the interested party, and I think it would be in the city's best interest to let that individual try to rehab the property so we don't have to use taxpayer dollars to do it. That's going to be my position on it.
My opinion is I believe this particular individual has the ability, the knowledge, and the personal drive to do something with it. It's my opinion.
I'll echo that.
I agree.
Since I haven't read it, I can't speak to the specifics, obviously, but I've stated this before. If somebody has the willingness and the desire to put their resources into that building and we're not owning it, I'm all for it.
And it's not the
That's-
resources, it's theirs.
That's my motto on that.
Well, you know,
And he does have the resources.
he's got the resources, he's got the knowledge, he's got the labor, and I believe he's got the personal drive to make it happen.
So do you need a motion or just a consensus on that, Ethan?
If the consensus is to move forward, I guess with, getting a contract or a quick claim together for you guys to review, I think we can do that through consensus this evening.
What's a land bank need to do with that?
We'll have to have a land bank meeting next, before our next council meeting, you guys would have a land bank meeting since it's technically a land bank property to.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Brad and I can get at least a draft together for you guys to look at before we reach back out and move that forward.
All right. So should we continue this then? or-
Yeah, I'd continue it to the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, here I make a motion to continue the distressed property hearings on 217 Main until our next scheduled meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to continue the distressed property hearing for 217 Main to the next regular council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. We will take that up at the next meeting. That takes us into new business, and the first item is our new Medic 22 ambulance that we've been eagerly waiting for. Now is going to require a slight change order, and Mr. Lowe is here to address that situation.
Well, we're now moving forward. I'm actually dealing with people out of North Carolina on the ambulance. The electrical engineers were going through all of the specs we had did. I think I've looked at this several times over the last few years, trying to see what was missed and what wasn't missed. We had a couple things that we had in there that we did not miss, that we submitted change order and had a cost adjustment on, and where we had already set everything through council when we did the bid acceptance. This was one of those that Ethan and I couldn't approve, so it had to come back to you guys. What we've done is we had the IV warming cabinet in there. We assumed everything was with it. The engineer went through and that cabinet was not wired, nor was the IV warmer spec'd for that cabinet. It was basically going to be a label drawer without having the equipment in it. It needed spec'd for that. And they also followed up on our type of radio. We had the power cables to the main radio unit, but ours has the two remote heads, one in the back, one in the front. We did not have power cables ran to those two remote heads, so they were adding wiring to that. And the one other item was the changing the lighting where it could be dimmed down and not on full bright all the time. That was an assumption on my part that all builders did that. Well, I didn't realize that had to be a spec'd item, that had to be glared down. And Jim and Denise can both tell you, you don't want that thing fully lit up in the back all the time. 2 in the morning when you're taking little old lady to the hospital not feeling well, you want to be able to dim those lighting down on that. The only thing I'm here tonight is to change our not to exceed order from 285 to 290,000. It's a $5,000 change. Our change order was 4,000 and something with the change request I had in. But like I said, we couldn't approve it since you guys had approved the not to exceed bid. So I'm back to see if we can get the bid adjusted by 5,000.
Trust me, you want warm IVs and you want your radio to work.
Yeah. I imagine it would cost more than that when the radio people got here if they had to rerun wiring through that truck after it was built.
It's an unfortunate oversight, but it needs to be, and we need to have that equipment right in the unit.
Well, I'll be the one to own this, and the sales guy, he assumed when they did the bids out there and sent everything back, he assumed it was in there, but this one's on me, I own it. These are just a couple things I missed. I'm just glad the engineer who looks at this stuff all the time questioned it and sent it back to us.
Well, there's definitely a lot of detail on those specification sheets when you're putting those units together, so.
I'm surprised that's all that was missed, to be honest. And to try to do this after we get it, it's gonna cost us 2 or 3 times more than what we're putting into it now.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the requested changes and associated costs increase of the new ambulance build and to authorize the total purchase cost not to exceed $290,000.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve this change order on the new Medic 22. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go, Andy. Now what do we expect for delivery date on that thing?
We're still looking, hopefully first quarter, so they're going over all the wiring. The box is out at the bodybuilder. I mean, they're building the box now, so.
The unit we're going to replace with that, how's that unit been holding up?
We keep throwing occasional money at it and holding our breath, so.
Okay.
That'll be 3 years on that thing. That is incredible.
All right, next up, USD 440 FFA has a special event application, and I'd like to welcome these two young ladies up here. Please give us your name and let us know why you're addressing the council this evening.
Good evening. My name is Liberty Turner, and I'm currently serving as the FFA president.
My name is Kyler Zonker, and I'm the Halstead FFA secretary.
FFA is a dynamic youth organization that strives to make a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education. FFA develops members' potential and helps them discover their talents through hand-on experiences, which give members the tools they need to succeed in life following graduation.
We are here tonight to present our request to host a 5K run/walk on November 29th. This event falls under Health Lifestyles in the Growing Leaders section of our program of activities. Our program of activities is a detailed list of activities that we have planned to bring to our FFA members, USD 440, and the surrounding community. This event will encourage the well-being of students and the community members mentally or physically in achieving the positive evolution of the whole person.
Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight, and we look forward to what we accomplish this school year and in the future.
Thank you. Council, questions?
How long has FFA been here in Halstead?
So this is the first year.
Okay, that's what I thought. Very good.
Very good.
You girls probably heard me talking before the meeting, but I was an FFA member myself for all 4 years of high school, so
I was as well.
I can recognize those blue corduroy jackets from a mile and a half away.
I was for my freshman year in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, not me, but my husband, because I grew up in the city, so us city kids didn't get into that. But my husband has 3 generations of family members that are FFA and have also won the Star Farmer Chapter Award. Yeah, Star Chapter Farmer Award, something like that. All of them have at one point or another have that, and we've got more classes coming up. That'll be an FFA. So, and when a lot of schools are starting to close down their FFA, to where you guys decided to get it going here in Halstead is very commendable.
Outstanding.
It's just, I'm really excited. So I want to move your hair, I want you to show around, I want to show the back of your jackets, because this is pretty cool.
That is.
That is really cool.
It's really cool
Yeah,
to
it's
see
pretty
Halstead
sharp.
on there. When I'm used to seeing Hillsborough, it's like, yeah, we got one back too. So good job.
Very good.
guys.
So is anybody taking on any cattle or anything like that? Anybody in your group?
Well, so that would kind of fall under an SAE, which is a supervised agriculture experience.
Okay.
So it's a project certain kids can choose to do. So some kids in our chapter are doing cattle for their SAEs. Me in particular, I'm doing sheep and goats because
Okay.
I raise them.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm doing bunnies and horses.
All right.
Right.
Very good.
We had, ours was attached to the 4-H in our area where I grew up, so
Yes, sir.
we had all kinds of,
I have several awards from the early 80s for ag electrification. That's what I was doing back then. So, yeah, you guys will learn a lot, so. Council, what do you think?
That's a good deal. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the special event application for the Halstead FFA Turkey Trot 5K Run Walk, scheduled to be held on Saturday, November 29th, 2025, at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., utilizing city streets within the city of Halstead.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the USD 440 FFA special event application. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Thanks for coming in tonight, girl.
Thank you.
Good luck. I hope
luck,
it's a
yes.
big success. Next item on the agenda is a seed grant opportunity. We've had one of these before, and I'll let Ethan remind us of what it was for.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have, there's been 3 rounds of seed grants. Halstead participated in the first 2 rounds and then had to sit out the 3rd round because we had been successful in the first 2 rounds. There are many aspects that can be used, seed grant funds can be used for, community vibrancy, libraries, things related to childcare or senior centers. So we reached out to the Halstead Senior Center. As we know, their building had some upgrade needs, and they are interested in pursuing an application. So very similar to kind of how in our first round, we served as a conduit for the library and the Learning Center for Health to get funds. Staff are currently working with the senior center staff to try and get an application together. However, we do have a backup project that we'd at least like your consensus to proceed on if for some reason the senior center, we can't get that all done in time to submit, which is a replacement of the sign at Riverside Park. We have some preliminary concepts and at least a budget to get us an application in for it. That sign is noted, it's dated, it needs updated with recent championships, kind of fitting it more into the signage we've done with the marquee and the wayfinding. So we'd like your consensus, I guess, this evening to continue working on that, those projects to get an application in with the city, basically either having a project itself or serving as the guarantor for the senior center's project, so.
Well, council, you know my position. I always entertain these grants. It's getting more done without using our money. Well, it is our money. It's just coming back. It's our taxes coming back to the community, so. Do we have,
If we don't use it.
Somebody
another
will.
Community will, so might as well go.
I think you have your consensus. Yes, sir.
Proceed.
All right, sounds great. Next item is set a city council work session date.
Normally, we've had a work session with the council sometime in the 4th quarter, usually before we get to end of the holidays, end of year. Obviously, didn't know, we have several projects that thankfully are getting ready to turn, like the Safe Routes to School, North Street, but didn't know. Obviously, we still have other pending things, such as the 328 Main Street property that potentially could be discussed. So just kind of throwing this out for you all if you wanted to have a work session on anything you want.
Let me ask you a question. Where are we at in this wastewater treatment plant process?
They are in PE right now, preliminary engineering, sorry. So we've, I think, already signed one invoice and submitted that to the state for reimbursement on the project, but we're in the early stages of design now, where we had preliminary design and.
So there's really nothing to discuss regarding that at a work session. I talked to Ethan earlier, we don't have a real set agenda for this, so maybe we can set this work agenda. And then if you guys have anything in particular you would like to add on that work session, let me know and we can get it on that agenda.
Okay.
So that work for you, Ethan, if we set the date and then determine the agenda down the road?
Yeah, or if you all want to think about it, we can put it as an agenda item again next meeting and set one then, or if everyone's fine with not. setting
I
one.
think let's wait till next meeting to set one,
I'm
because I'm really drawing a blank right now.
teaching Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I know Wednesdays are not that good for some, so.
Well, why don't you guys think about what you'd like to see for agenda items and then we'll discuss that at the next meeting and bring that forward.
Okay.
All right. Well, that moves us down to, we do have one executive session on the agenda this evening, and I would entertain that motion just as soon as Brad gives it to Jim.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Halstead City Council recess into executive session to discuss review of city manager and maintain privacy rights of the employee, personnel matters of non-elected personnel exemption KSA 75-4319B1 to include the city manager, the city attorney to reconvene at 8 o'clock.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
It is
I
8,
thought
isn't
we
it?
were
It's 8,
7:59.
59 seconds.
Okay, we'll just sit here live for a minute until my phone says it's 8 o'clock. Now it's 8 o'clock. We are back from our executive session. Is there any action to be taken as a result of?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, after reviewing our city manager, determined that we're pleased with his efforts and would like to extend to him a 4% performance increase, and also would have the mayor, give authority to the mayor to sign a new contract with Mr. Reimer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a new contract with the city manager that includes a 4% merit increase. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, that moves us down to our report section of our agenda, and the first thing on the agenda for that is governing body comments. Tonight, I'll start with you, Jim.
I did stop up at the the arts and crafts thing the other day, and enjoyed that in the wind. For the moments I was there, I had a young lady I work with at Health Ministries that was setting up a booth, but it seemed like it was going well when I showed up there. Lots of school activities, looks like. Every day I go by there, there's cars out in the parking lot in the evenings, so let's make sure we're taking advantage of that stuff. And that's all I have.
Charlie.
Yeah, our high school girls are hosting regional. We found out today on Monday, starting at 5 o'clock. That'd be nice. One of the things, to me, I want to issue some kudos to the people who are working for the city. They are the friendliest group. You know, I'll even go out on a limb and say they're even more friendly than the Nisley guys. The Nisley guys are really friendly. They really are. You know, I too attended the ordeal on the north side of the river, and that was fun. And a lot of unique arts and crafts there. And then some of the performances, the people they had, the performances with the people we had here at the Brick Street were very good. And I think the whole thing was a great day. The weather was good except for the wind. And I think attendance is probably up. I didn't take a head count or nothing like that, but if I had a concern about that, and I haven't asked the vendors on Main Street whether or not they had an increase in foot traffic. You know, when we close that down, what's that do to the foot traffic that they have or they would have had on a Saturday? I really don't know, but I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, that would be something that would be handy to know. I know I talked to Derek Lanham a little bit there at the flower shop, and they had pretty good traffic flow through there during the event.
Good. That's it.
George?
Also attended the Brick Street and the barn sale, and it was just really a nice time to be out there. And so that's nice having that come to town. But I just stumbled onto a little video last night. A guy, he calls himself the Wise Guy, and he does little reviews on small communities all over Kansas. And he did one on Halstead, and it looks like it's fairly new. And it looks like it's episode 508, and this title is Small Town USA, Halstead, Kansas. So if you get a chance, go to YouTube and look at this. It's just a really nice little video. And I've been sharing it, and other people have been sharing it, so it's just nice little video of our
I
community.
watched and shared that video myself, and if I had to guess, because all the flags and everything were up, that had to be right before Brick Street,
That's what I'm thinking.
or right after, with the blue Halstead dragon flags being out.
And that's all I have.
Denise?
Kudos to the committee for pulling off another Brick Street, successful Brick Street. And also kudos to our maintenance department. The trees that were down by the slough that are between Chestnut and Main Street, south of 10th Street, that area's been needed to be cleaned up for a really long time. And I know you guys, Pat, you told me that you contracted some of that work out, and there's a little bit left to do. But there's 110% improvement in that area. It looks so clean and just very inviting for families to go out and take a walk, go through that little park that our house used to sit on. And so, yeah, kudos for getting that cleaned up, because I'm sure that took a lot of work. There was a lot of dead wood in there from when we had our storm back last May. There was a lot of limbs that were down, and so we should see better flow through the slough and everything and down there too as well. But well done, job well done.
Okay, well, I attended Brick Streets too, but they got some labor out of me. I played music down there from 2 to 4, and yeah, the wind was horrible. And I can't see my laptops without some kind of shade, and there was no way to set up an easy up, so I just set up in the back of my trailer and used my trailer for shade and played music out of the back of the trailer, and it actually worked out pretty well. I do have other news tonight, council. This is gonna give me great pleasure. 3 years ago, we embarked on a mission, and that mission was to hold some out-of-city property holders accountable for their properties. And you guys understand what kind of struggles and challenges we went through and the distressed property hearings and everything that we went through. So it gives me great pleasure tonight to read the statement that I prepared earlier. And what this statement's regarding is our new owner for the Halstead Hospital. And our new owner is Covenant Global Missions. They're out of New York. The new owner for the Hospital Inn and the Nun House is CBJR Enterprises. They're out of New York. Both businesses are primarily held by James A. Rollins Sr. James grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, and has lived in New York for the last 30 years. James is a multitasker. Along with his businesses, he has served as a pastor for 33 years. Ethan and I have met with James in person, and I've been in pretty close contact with him via telephone while he navigated through the purchase of these properties. On a side note, he sounds like James Earl Jones when you talk to him. We look forward to introducing Mr. Rollins to the Halstead community and are hopeful this will happen at our next regular council meeting. We don't know yet what the future holds for these properties, but we now have hope. We have hope that these will be put back into productive use in the near future. So I would invite the public to stay tuned for further details as this moves along, and hopefully we will see James and meet him at the next council meeting. So that's something that I was very happy to be able to bring forward tonight. With that, we'll move on to Ethan for the city manager report. And when you're done with your manager report, Ethan, you can move right on into your third quarter financial.
Just a few project updates. The city does remain on track for bidding by the end of October for the Safe Routes to School Phase 1 improvement project. Following the bid letting by KDOT, staff should have a more concrete date for the actual construction and timetables related to that project. And then the city will also be bidding out the smaller sidewalk addition that was the Blue Cross Blue Shield Pathways Grant project, which sees construction of sidewalk on the south side of 6th Street west of Cedar Drive around the same time. And you guys might have seen the public notice for that bid letting that's being handled by the project engineer in the Harvey County now, because they advertised it there. Visiting with the project engineer on our North Street project, they continue to iron out utility relocation and right-of-way issues with BNSF, which is the railroad, but they are hopeful that the project should hopefully go out to bid by the end of this year. I recently attended the LKM Annual Conference in Overland Park Thursday through Saturday, and just want to thank the governing body for the support to attend that conference on behalf of the city. There were many informative sessions, and I look forward to revisiting my notes from those and using this information to help us and inform our decisions as we continue to move forward. Work continues on the Main Street Sidewalk Improvement Project as weather has allowed. Work is just about finalized in the 100 block, and the 200 block is well underway. And I just applaud the contractor. They're moving well, even though we've met a few things we didn't completely anticipate, including some former sub-level basements and actually at one time were operating businesses from what we can tell. And yeah, so it's been exciting. We'll keep you all informed, but we still think we will be able to complete that project and a little bit of additional work within that budget you guys all established. And even though I know it's inconvenienced and we really appreciate the business owners working with us as well as the public's understanding, but have heard nothing but positive comments yet on as we've progressed that project. So very excited for that to continue. I also want to note we're working with the Community Foundation on their project for Riverside Park at Christmas. Just so that you all are aware, we are serving as a financial pass-through. So you will see a purchase for lights, but the Community Foundation is reimbursing that cost. So we just, we're purchasing them, but it'll be reimbursed. The city is not buying these lights or taking ownership at the end of it. Just facilitating that purchase on behalf of the Community Foundation. And we continue to work with them and the Chamber of Commerce as well on Halloween Howl and the upcoming jingle. And I believe the emergency services departments are gonna be doing a little extra at Halloween Howl beyond our normal candy and lights. So we'll hopefully apprise you all of that next meeting. And as always, invite you guys, if you have no plans on Halloween evening, come in front of City Hall and help us celebrate with those. So that is all I have this evening that weren't things already addressed by you all in your comments. And for the financial report, city's accounts have now been reconciled through September between the city treasurer and the city clerk, and that closes out our third quarter for this fiscal year. Both the monthly and the quarterly reports were included in your council packets in addition to the handout this evening. City's total cash position across all funds and investments decreased by just over $525,000 during this quarter, going from a high of $7.1 million at the beginning of the quarter to just under $6.6 million at the close. Compared to this same period last fiscal year, our total cash position is unfavorable to September of 2024 by just over $500,000. Part of this is driven by the timing of the city's year-end bond payments compared to last year, as well as declining revenues in the general fund, and then expedited payments on the city's gas utility loan, which continue to be made. Across all funds, the city's revenues and incoming transfers totaled just over $1.8 million in the quarter, while expenditures were just over $2.3 million. Total cash and investments, as stated, are just under $6.6 million, while total liabilities and obligations are at $4.87 million. The balance of the city's gas utility loan is just over $800,000, and the largest single liability on our books is still the temporary notes for the Main Street, Stutzman Street improvements at just over $2 million. General fund revenues continue to be down compared to the previous year, due primarily to factors such as the dropped contractual payments for things such as the Sedgwick EMS contract or previously held leases, but are within expectations and staff estimates for this period. Expenditures continue to meet or are slightly favorable to expectations. We are seeing pressure in some of our staffing line items due to coverage needs in emergency services, and then increasing costs for supplies or services across all departments. City's enterprise and utility funds continue to show signs of stability and health. As has been the trend for some time, the gas fund is the most unfavorable to projections, and staff have paused budgeted transfers for the remainder of the year just to ensure the continued health of that fund, but we'll reevaluate those in December. Staff will continue to monitor all the enterprise funds and anticipate that rate adjustments will be needed in both wastewater and gas in the near future to continue to ensure long-term health and operations of those funds in light of upcoming projects. Capital funds continue to build in anticipation of future projects and following the acquisition of large equipment. Balances are larger than projected due to the delay of projects like the North Street and Safe Routes to School project or the ambulance, as was discussed this evening, that we still haven't purchased. But with the Safe Routes going to bid by the end of October and North Street hopefully by the end of the year, we will anticipate that we'll begin to see declines in our capital project funds accordingly and drawdowns of those balances. Utility reserves also continue to grow in anticipation of projects such as the wastewater treatment plant improvements and the infrastructure improvements associated with North Street reconstruction. And while our balances are not as high as what we saw last fiscal year, the city remains in good and stable fiscal health, and staff will continue to monitor the overall trends and conditions as we enter the end of our fiscal year for 2025. And that is all I have, unless there's any questions.
I have one. What's our balance on that gas loan? I always ask.
805,000, I think.
Still more than I'd want to pay out of my pocket for sure.
Lower every month,
Yeah, it's nice we're knocking that down, but,
so.
okay. All right, council, any of you have any questions for Ethan?
No, sir.
If not, that concludes our agenda, and I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, council.
Thank you.